District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Metzler and James B. Melley Jr. in Penfield Town Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm an innocent man. This is a receipt for United Parcel Service. I'm going to read the Freedom of Information Law here on this YouTube. And you already received it. I changed the date to reflect today's date, December 2nd. This is the receipt from United Parcel Service where I went on November 28th, where it says here, ship date, November 29th. So I'm going to read your names here. Everything I'm going to read, every Freedom of Information Law you received, it's been tracked by UPS. So that says Todd Baxter, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Sandra Doorley, 47 South Fitzhugh, Alex Renzi, 99 Exchange, Paul C. Metzler, 1985 Bad Road, James B. Melley Jr., 1985 Bad Road. So this is the receipt they gave me today where they stapled it, and that's how I track it right there. So this says here, ship date, Friday, December 2nd, 2022. And there's your name, James B. Melley Jr. I'm demanding list of defendants in front of you. There's your name, Todd K. Baxter. What do you think I'm demanding, Todd Baxter? I'm going to show you a picture of what I'm demanding. A Freedom of Information Law, where I'm demanding the cost of fanaticism. Speaking of fanaticism, you pathetic diva in your conviction integrity unit, Sandra Doorley, you're going to sign for this. Alex Renzi, 99 Exchange, whatever he is, without a prosecutor, without a jury, without a witness box, just like Paul C. Metzler and James B. Melley Jr., by himself for me to send me to jail. Without a prosecutor talking, because prosecutors never talked in court. And there you are, you skinhead widow, Paul C. Metzler, $28,000 disgusting, sickening hack. Send me a list of defendants in that little room. I'll tell the United States Department of Justice that everybody's guilty in Penfield Town Court, demanding this information for 18 months about defendants in Penfield Town Court, and you're refusing. I want to see the documentation about Daniel Glaus III, this accused child rapist that John P. Lomenzo Jr. released. So, when I use the phrase surveillance device, party-switching skinhead stooge and cipher Todd Baxter, there it is. Elliot Roth, who works at this building, 2025 Penfield Road. Is this private technology from your business called Consumer Insights, or does Sheriff Todd Baxter and his fellow psychopaths come in and fix it? What's the answer, Elliot? I'll contact you directly and sign for it. But you're a private citizen, Elliot, and you can do what you want. And if you want to be left alone, you can block me on email. You don't want to provide information to me, well, then that's your freedom as an American citizen. That's your right. You're not paid $132,000 as a sheriff of Monroe County, Elliot. You're not paid $203,089 as a district attorney. Like Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley, where they're accountable to the taxpayers. That's a surveillance device, Todd Baxter. Did you buy it and fix it for me? Or is this private technology you're using? Either way, it's a sick lunatic fringe. You stooge, cipher, cretin, and criminal, Todd Baxter. You know what I now know that justice is about? Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley. You know what justice comes down to in the United States of America? It comes down to money. Because if I had wealth, I never would have been in jail one time. And I'm not saying that I have not been defended with honor, integrity, and character by the Public Defender's Office with Mark Phillips and Regina Harper, because I have. And it does not matter what Mark or Regina say. I can have the best defense possible, the most brilliant legal defense and arguments, and I'm still going to be in jail 6 times like I was. It does not matter. Because there's no jury for me. And a prosecutor doesn't have to talk. I can just be presented in front of Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metzler, John P. Lomenzo Jr., declared guilty, and then I'm in jail. First in Monroe County Jail, next in Livingston County Jail, and the total amount of times I've been in those 2 jails 6 times. And what I haven't done yet is, since I've been in jail 6 times, I do not know from memory the exact dates I was in jail. I probably could figure it out and make a determination, but you tell me, Todd Baxter, and I will contact Thomas J. Doherty the sheriffs of Livingston County, and every Freedom of Information Law document, the same information I'm demanding from you, Todd Baxter, I'm demanding from him. You know what he's going to do? He's going to refuse to. I was told that I had to be in Livingston County Jail because I would be violently attacked at Monroe County Jail, and not from the inmates. From the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees that work at the jail because of what I'm doing to you on this YouTube. That's what I was told. I don't know if that's true. But I'm in Livingston County Jail for a reason, Todd Baxter, when I lived in Penfield, New York. Is that true, Todd Baxter? When I write this down, because I've only said this on YouTube, then you tell me an answer, and I'm going to ask Sheriff Thomas J. Doherty if he even knows I'm a citizen of Monroe County and Penfield, and there I am in his jail. Did you, Paul C. Metro, decide I was going to be in Livingston County Jail and Geneseo was one person? I didn't even know that was the name of the county in Geneseo. Even though when I was a graduate student in Albany, one of my excellent friends, his name was Anthony Scardino, and Anthony went to SUNY Geneseo. And when I was there, and I could see SUNY Geneseo from where I was. And I didn't even know Livingston County was a county in New York, even though, of course, I know that there are 62 counties in New York. And I emailed my friend. I said, Livingston County, this is a county full of rednecks where I was because of you, Paul C. Metzer. Answer that question. And this is the thing, the corruption, I should say, not the thing. About someone like Paul C. Metzer, this $28,000 skinhead widow. She's not accountable to anyone. She knows she could just be on that Penfield Town Court with 6,000 votes or whatever it was, and there's going to be no accountability. She can be on that court. She can violate citizens' civil and constitutional rights, just like James P. Mully Jr. and Alex Renzi, and they're not accountable to anyone. And I believe there's a commission on judicial conduct in Albany, and I'm going to contact this commission about Metzer, Mully, and Renzi. And I do not yet know the process for how a judge is removed, but I'm going to do everything possible to see that Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metzer, and James P. Mully Jr. are removed from their respective courts so they can't violate the civil and constitutional rights of innocent citizens like me. So, now Todd Baxter, how do you communicate with your employees at the sheriff's office? And how do you, Sandra Doorley, communicate with your employees at the district attorney's office? The reason why I cite this is I believe that you don't listen to anything that you're told by your employees. And you have employees at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office, as much as I despise and detest you each, that have honor and character. Because I have been around some of your employees that have honor and character. Well, a way for an elected official to reach corruption is when that elected official does not listen to the aides or assistants or deputies that work for that elected official. That the employees just shut down or are shut down by the boss. And the reason why I mention this, and if you will indulge me, is this is what Richard Nixon did with H.R. Bob Haldeman and John D. Ehrlichman in the White House. And John Dean went to talk to the President of the United States. And I have this. And the reason why I cite this is I believe you're exactly like Richard M. Nixon was in the White House. Because I'm going to read what John Dean is trying to tell the President of the United States. And the President of the United States is not listening to John Dean at all. And the reason why the President is rejecting John Dean's counsel and advice is because he's corrupt. Just like you, Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley. This is from the University of Virginia Miller Center, March 21, 1973. Participants, Richard M. Nixon, John W. Dean. John W. Dean. The reason I thought we ought to talk this morning is because in our conversations, I have the impression that you don't know everything I know. President Nixon acknowledges. And it makes it very difficult for you to make judgments that only you can make. President Nixon, that's right. Dean, on some of these things, and I thought that you, President Nixon, unclear. In other words, I've got to know why you feel that or unclear something unclear. Dean, well, let me. President Nixon, that we shouldn't unravel something. Dean, let me give you my overall first. President Nixon, in other words, your judgment as to where it stands and where we ought to go. Dean, I think there's no doubt about the seriousness of the problem we've got. We have a cancer within, close to the presidency, that's growing. It's growing daily. It's compounding. It's growing geometrically now. President Nixon acknowledges throughout brackets because it compounds itself. And then Dean goes on to explain to Nixon right in front of John W. Dean, who is the cancer on the presidency. What happened? Now, I read this 25 years ago, or 30 years ago, when I first read a book about the White House transcripts, and page after page was transcripts. And the reason why I cite this is a cancer upon you, Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley. This is one of the most famous quotes in American history, cancer on the presidency. And you can see it if you want to read it and listen to it. I believe there is the video of it. Excuse me, the audio of it. But that's it. Cancer on the presidency. And John Dean is reviled by the Nixon Kool-Aid drinkers because of what he did. And I also believe, if I'm doing this from memory, that he was one of the first to disclose the existence of the taping device in the White House. So, every Freedom of Information law that I'm going to start to read this momentarily, was shipped on November 29th. Do you understand me? I'm going to say this again. For you hacks, December 2nd, 2022, it's arriving. And when I talk to you, I'm not only communicating with you where you sign for the UPS, and as I've read previously, I'm not going to do this again. This is how many times I've sent you this information. These are different individuals. Now, this is you, Todd Baxter, you, Sandra Doorley, you, James E. Doorley Jr., you, Paul C. Metro, you, Alex Renzi. I read these cards where I was citing the employees' names that signed for this. So everything I'm going to read, you sign for here, over and over. Everything that I'm going to read, you got on this November 29th and today. I went to UPS on Park Avenue, and here it is right here. And I've also communicated with you by email on November 28th. It says right here, Sandra Doorley, Todd Baxter. Here are your employees right there. These are the emails. And this is a new email I used, Chris.7Chichester at Proton Mail. That's a new email because I know I'm being blocked. I don't know if you could block me if I use a new email. Perhaps you can, just by using my name. I'm demanding information from you. That's why I'm communicating with you. And to tell you you're corrupt. That's why I'm communicating with you. But the primary motivation for me is information. And you better tell me the names of my prosecutors of silence, you disgusting, sickening, repulsive hack. Sandra Doorley, you don't even know if you're supposed to be a Republican or Democrat, just like Todd Baxter, because she'll say anything. So this is called corruptible here, where on YouTube, you could go to YouTube and type your names to see me, where it says, from me to you. Comply with the attached PDF Freedom of Information Law document dated November 28, 2022, and mail the information I demand to the address listed at United Postal Service, where there are three here: corruptible, delusion and denial, and zero. And I think about how that is related to you. Corruptible, because you're corrupt. Delusion and denial, because I'm a citizen demanding information, and you're refusing because you're in delusion and denial. And zero, because you complied with zero. I call that zero because over and over and over, despite the fact I'm sending these to you, I don't have any information. This is the address, and I'm going to repeat this. You send it to, I'm not asking, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York. Now, here is the key to Park Avenue. And when I go to Park Avenue, I expect there's not going to be any information I'm demanding from you, including your most recent payrolls. And if I do have communication and contact from you, Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metro, James E. Jr., I expect you to be threatening me. Please send me communication where you're threatening me, you want to arrest me. Please do that, because then I can tell the Department of Justice that you're threatening me in my UPS box. Please threaten me if you contact me. You don't want to send us information? I'm not asking. I'll say that over and over. And, you know, when I go to Patrick's Printing, this is not cheap. Here it is today. This is $20 that cost me today. And this is a way back on November 1st. This receipt, that's everything I'm going to read. I demanded from you on November 1st. I didn't receive anything. So, now Todd Baxter, figure out the best lie possible. And what's that called? You freak, Todd Baxter. That's called a surveillance device. So I don't believe I'm going to show this up again in the interest of time. And I have the photographs that I didn't have the last time I did this. So, and I'm buying new phones so I could create a Gmail. This is a new Gmail, which I hope can go through. I don't know if you can block me if I have a new Gmail just by using my name. So I always use my name on Gmail. Bought that so I could create a new Gmail. Have you figured out what I'm doing to you? Do you know what I'm doing to you? Todd Baxter, Sandra, Doorley. And I was evicted by my residents, my psychopath landlord, Giuseppe Spano and Antonino Spano, his father-son landlords that are now dead. And I have nothing. And this is South Clinton Avenue. If you know Rochester, I'll guess that your employees at the Attorney Sheriff's Office, some of whom may even live in Rochester. This is right here. And you can see, if I'm holding that closely enough, the Goodwill store. And the Goodwill store is on South Clinton Avenue here. And I go over the overpass, so-called an overpass of 490. And I'm extremely concerned if I'm on that thing at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I'm walking over 490, given what I see around in that area. So, but that's it right there. And the reason why I show you this is I had to go to Goodwill again because I have nothing. Because every single thing I own is gone because of my illegal eviction by my psychopath father-son landlords, one of whom is now dead. The son is dead. And I had to go into the Goodwill and buy knives, forks, and spoons. I don't even own, because you disgusting, sickening hacks, Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metzer, and James Melly Jr., knives, forks, and spoons. Because of you and what you've done to me. What's that called, Todd Baxter? Think about the best possible lie. So, justice is about money. That's what it comes down to, like so many other things in life. If I had money, despite the fact that I've been defended with honor and integrity by the public defender's office, I never would have spent one goddamn day in jail. So, Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley. Today is December 2nd, 2022. This is attached in PDF. I'm going to emphasize this again. If I repeat myself, it's because corruption needs to have facts and the truth hammered into itself, into it. And that's your it. Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Paul C. Metzer, James Melly Jr., and Alex Renzi. So, that's November 29th. Here is today. It'll arrive there on Saturday. The reason why I'm showing this again, I will go back to UPS on Sunday, where I'll update every single freedom of information or document I'm about to read to you. So I believe that you will get both what I'm going to read and what I write on Sunday, where I'm demanding new information. Because I'm constantly thinking about information I can demand from you that you will refuse to provide. So I don't think that you will receive these freedom of information law documents when I'm about to read and on Sunday, both on Monday. But I don't know how UPS delivers what I'm about to read to you. So as I belabor this, these are the freedom of information law documents. And I'll pause in between some of these to tell you why I'm demanding information. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm demanding these first two. In the United States military, there is the Article 15, which is part of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It is the most common form of punishment. Do you have a disciplinary process at the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office? I believe the answer is no. Tell me the answer. And you will refuse because you're corrupt. Freedom of Information Law. The internal disciplinary record for documentation for employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, that Sheriff Todd K. Baxter has reprimanded, terminated, disciplined employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York. Do you want to call me on my phone and threaten me about what you want to do to me? Please do that. 813-648-4441. Call me on my phone. Tell me how you want to get me in front of one corrupt judge where a prosecutor doesn't have to talk in court, where there is no jury of 12, where there's no witness box for testimony, how you want to get me in front of Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metzer, James Melly Jr., or some other repulsive hack in Monroe County just to deliver me to jail for an indeterminate period of time. Go ahead and do that. Please call me. Tell you want me to be in court somewhere where one judge is going to declare me guilty of something you concoct. Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law, December 2nd, 2022. The internal disciplinary record for documentation for employees at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, that District Attorney Sandra Doorley is disciplinary record terminated from employment at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. This is really simple. These next two, it's simple, it's complicated for you two-party switching hacks. The name of Salazar, public employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd K. Baxter. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. I'm not just demanding the base salary. Are you fleecing taxpayers with what's commonly called overtime? Total cost of overtime, time and a half, while paying by the base salary is calculated at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, while paying by the base salary is calculated at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley. Have you settled sexual harassment lawsuits because your employees are animals, Todd K. Baxter, and your employees are animals? That's what I'm demanding here for these next two from you, Todd Baxter, and Sandra Doorley, and you refuse. I believe it's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in my former place of employment in Washington, D.C. that handles sexual harassment cases. I believe I could be incorrect, but I will contact them. I'll certainly contact the Department of Justice because I believe the answer is yes. That you have settled sexual harassment lawsuits because you're refusing to answer. What's the answer? The cost of taxpayers of Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter spending taxpayer dollars settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits fail to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I could be wrong about this, but in my research online and when I went to the Rochester Public Library, I believe it is Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It's as clear as it possibly could be about discrimination based on gender. Is there sexual harassment at your sheriff's office, Todd Baxter, and you've been refusing to answer for 18 months? Just like a certain party-switching diva. The cost of taxpayers of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley spending taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Michelle Crowley, director of the grand jury, indicts me. We don't even know, one, the grand jury is convened, and two, that Houlihan is going to testify and perjure himself before you. Have you been sexually harassed at the district attorney's office, Michelle Crowley? Do you know another employee at the district attorney's office who's been sexually harassed? My experience in a bureaucracy or on staff for elected officials is that the elected officials oftentimes has no idea what's going on. The staff really knows everything. Sandra Doorley could exist because of her health in total ignorance about sexual harassment at the district attorney's office, and you may know more than her or another employee. So what's the answer, Michelle Crowley? How are you treated at the district attorney's office by the male employees? Do they comport themselves with the highest degree of character, integrity, and honor? This is the lunatic fringe. This is not the high surveillance photo of this. I hope I can have my phone click back on here and show this because I want to show the high resolution photo. And yeah, there it is. That's a surveillance device. Perhaps you could call Lindsay Barron again, Todd Baxter, from the Monroe County Office of Mental Health to chase me down Willow Pond Way. She sat in a Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle because I used the phrase surveillance device. I've already seen the images now that Christina Harper showed me the links. Is this private technology that you used upon me with your $67,000 cop from hell, Shannon Meyer? Or did you buy it and fix it and you refuse to answer because you're corrupt? That's a surveillance device. Todd Baxter, do you believe that this is not a surveillance device? Is that what I'm showing you? Can you see it? Elliot Raw, sign for your registered mail return receipt or UPS when I contact you because I'm going to ask you about this. If it's private technology, that's even, perhaps, could be even more of a lunatic fringe of you buying it and fixing it from me, using a private business to get me on camera. Cost of surveillance device purchased from taxpayer dollars by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter affixed to a building at 2025 Pemke Road to monitor if Chris Vichach's 26 Sanders Farm Drive walks from parking lot next to the building. Tell me the answer, Todd, baby. At 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. And please tell me you want to arrest me and flog me and do other things to me, at this address because I'm demanding information, from me. Maybe you can draw and quarter me somewhere, Todd, baby. But this is not the high-resolution photo, but I've attached it here. So I just showed it to you in the high-resolution photo. Now, this is one of my favorite pictures, given everything I've been doing to you for 18 months. Freedom of Information Law. Cost of taxpayers photography session approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, photo rep 10. Monroe County Sheriff Office employees underwater in a pool. What a joke, a disgrace. I especially like the American flag in the background. Where was this taken? Is this a private event? Or is this in a public facility? What's the answer? The American flag's in the background? Who are these employees? Do you have a dive team for Lake Ontario? Is this just fun city here for them? This day? What is going on here? An animal house That's the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. This was either on your Facebook page or I think it was monroecounty.gov. I cannot recall from memory exactly where I saw it, but these are your employees. Is this a private event with private money and you're refusing to say this for 18 months? Or are you doing this on county time and did you spend taxpayer dollars for this? This has to be assembled. Somebody has to decide. I'm going to try not to laugh. There's nothing funny about what's happening. I'm really going to try not to laugh. Somebody has to decide to get the American flag down in the pool and position it. And then someone has to decide how this is going to be set up. Then someone has to call the photographer to get this coordinated. Todd Baxter, are you down here? Who is here? Is $85,000 Don Benedetto chases me up on my back porch with the other psychopath named Houlihan after they hit on the private property of my neighbor to concoct a crime called attempted felony assault where Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court tells me that crime doesn't exist. Either it's assault or it's not assault. And I was in jail for 6 weeks for attempted felony assault where Alex Renzi says in New York State penal law, that charge doesn't exist. Ryan Fisher, your employee, says, I no longer have the payroll. I don't know if he's still employed at the Sheriff's Office. He's one of the first names I'll go for. This is called a junket. And based on my experience and my employment for the majority leader and governor in Albany and for Congressman Laura Smith of Texas and Senator Olympia Snowe in Washington, D.C., I have seen these junkets being reported in the media and staffers talk about them. This is a junket that he's on because he's at the Super Bowl. How many other junkets have you sent your employees on? And you, Todd Baxter, have been on a junket to Watkins Glen, which I'm going to get to momentarily. What was the cost of a plane ticket to the hotel? And he took his dog, Lola, who's in his photograph I'm going to show. That's attached in PDF. Everything I'm reading is attached in PDF. If I repeat myself on certain things, I know I'm doing it because corruption requires repetition. The cost for a hotel and plane ticket for Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee Ryan Fisher to attend the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia on February 3rd, 2019. Now, here he is. It's not the high-resolution color photo, but that's him. That's Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and there's this beautiful German Shepherd that is such a beautiful dog. I love that dog, German Shepherd. Who wouldn't? And he's got a picture of him. I'm going to get to how Lola is protecting Monroe County with the heroic Ryan Fisher. And you're tweeting about this. You want people to know about it. I'm going to tell you, Todd, baby, how you avoid corruption. When you send your employee on a junket, don't go to Jack Dorsey's Twitter. Excuse me, Elon Musk's Twitter. He's got a few problems here on Twitter. So here you are tweeting about your employee being in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm really trying not to laugh at your buffoonery and stoicism here. As we get ready to watch Super Bowl, we are grateful to the men and women assigned to keep fans and players safe in Atlanta, including MCSO's own Deputy Ryan Fisher and K9 Lola. Deputy Fisher sent this photo from Atlanta, exclamation mark. Thank you both for your service. He sent this photo. Ryan Fisher, I'm going to guess, is in his hotel room, has this picture taken up. He goes to some tourist in Atlanta. He says, will please take a picture of me and my dog so I can send it back to Monroe County, New York, because I'm from Rochester, and this is Atlanta, and here I am for the Super Bowl. And here he is protecting. I'm going to state the reason why he's there, at least the way it was reported here from Spectrum News. But I want more details because I'm glad he want information. This is Monroe County Deputy K9 ready to protect and serve at the Super Bowl. I'll just read these three graphs. This is how long I've been demanding this. January 17, 2019. Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a little more than 2 weeks away. For those heading to Atlanta, you may feel a little safer knowing that two members of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office will be there helping to provide security. Deputy Ryan Fisher and his partner, K9 Lola, have been chosen by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to be part of the security team for the big game. This is a first for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office where they are saying they are, quote, super, end quote, proud. The two will touch down in Atlanta to help keep the Super Bowl safe and secure. When he touched down in Atlanta, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, in his airplane with his dog from Rochester to Atlanta, is this a plane ticket that is purchased with taxpayer dollars by the Department of Homeland Security or the Monroe County Sheriff's Office or a private entity or somewhere else in either New York or the United States? What's the answer? This specifically precisely is why you're corrupt, because you refuse to provide this information that I'm demanding. I'm not asking, just like every other freedom of information law that I've already read. You refuse to comply with the law, and you also refuse the ones that I have remaining here. It's the flag of New York. I'm going to show the flag of Georgia next. I love this flag. I used to look at this in the Capitol in Albany, and I've held this up before and stated some things about it that I know. But the thing that I like most about this, right here, this is Lady Liberty, perhaps she's called, and she's wearing a blindfold because justice is blind. Justice is supposed to be blind. It's just as blind for me, Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter, when you're sending me into a corrupt courtroom with Alex Renzi or Paul C. Metzer and John P. Menzer Jr. just to have me declared guilty when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. Because the prosecutor has never talked in court for me. And I've been in jail 6 times. Is justice blind for me, Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter? This is the Stars and Bars. This is where he is. They had to change the flag. They did not get around to changing this flag until 2003. Total disgrace. This is the freak. You're a $0 freak. When I acquired the payroll, I went right to Michael Radler's name. I was going down page after page, Michael Radler, and there it was, $0. I thought he was a double dipper. And he's not. Are you paid any sum of money, Michael Radler, from Todd Baxter's campaign accounts he created in 2017 when he first ran for sheriff, or when he ran again in 2021? What's the answer? You refused to answer. Your boss, Todd Baxter, refused to answer because he's corrupt. What's it going to be like for you, Todd, baby, if he is being paid private money for your campaign accounts and he goes into a public office at 130 South Plymouth Avenue? And this is what I'm going to tell Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli when I contact him in the next 2 weeks demanding to be audited. The day in your Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter rehired Michael Radler after his 20-year career with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office ended. It's January 1, 2018, right? Is he be paying private money? Did not write this the way I should have, where I'm demanding if it's private money. But the next time I write this, hopefully in the next 48 hours, I'm going to change this language because I now know that he's employed there in January 2018. The reason why I included this again is so I can tell you what I'm going to do with him because he's a freak. What are the physical training standards requirements of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? You have none. That's your employees. That's why employees are grossly overweight. Who's at that jail? The name of the charge. You do not separate the violent inmates from the non-violent inmates. Separate them and figure out that gray area, Todd Baxter, because that's going to increase the safety of the inmates and the employees at the jail. The name and charge of every inmate at Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter's Monroe County Jail from January 1, 2018 to December 2nd, 2022. I was attacked at your jail by Monroe County Sheriff Office. Boy, I'm not going to talk about that now, but I've talked about that previously. Give me his name, Sandra Doorley. You better tell me the names of my prosecutors of silence so I can begin the process to disbar each with the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court. And I'll pursue your disbarment too, Sandra Doorley. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester for John P. Menzer Jr. in Pembroke Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Is this Julie Hahn, who's now in Monroe County Court? I don't know because I have no idea who any of my prosecutors are by name. The documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester for Paul C. Metzer in Pembroke Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? This is the 5'2", 3-piece suit boy that Regina Harper said to me, quote, the prosecutor's not backing down, end quote, when he doesn't know a goddamn thing about me and his fiction, these lies. Have you violated my civil and constitutional rights? And what he knows is what you know, Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley. All it takes is one corrupt judge without a jury verdict, without witness testimony, without any evidence of crime, and then that citizen is declared guilty, that defendant is guilty. One judge it takes. And the state legislature in Albany, the Assembly and the Senate need to reform that law. Any citizen delivered to jail should be so delivered by jury every time. Because that prevents Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metzer, James P. Jr., and John P. Menzer Jr. from destroying a life. Freedom of Information Law. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester for Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? I believe this is the female prosecutor because there were 2 females standing behind me. And do I have multiple prosecutors? Is it just one assigned to me, or do I have 2? What's the answer? Because the last time I was in State Supreme Court, before a former employee of the district attorney's office, Alex Renzi, who's in there with 23% of the vote, he said to me I was finished and done, which I don't think that's true. I'll be back in some courtroom. I'll be back in jail because of what I'm doing to you on YouTube. Do I have multiple prosecutors assigned to Alex Renzi, Sandra Doorley? Or do I have one prosecutor? And is it one of the females that was standing behind me at 99 Exchange when Alex Renzi told me I was finished and done? Send me a list of defendants, Paul C. Metzer, to that P.O. box, in Rochester, New York, at UPS. A list of defendants in Penfield Court for Paul C. Metzler. How's it going to be for you, Paul C. Metzler, if the Department of Justice acquires such a list and every single defendant is guilty? No one's acquitted. You don't know how to acquit someone. Facts, circumstances, and the truth have to be evaluated. And psychopaths at a sheriff's office have to be rejected in order to acquit someone. It does not matter to you, Paul C. Metzler, that you can acquit someone. You want that control and that power over someone because you're sick. A list of defendants in Penfield Court for James McMillan Jr. This will include Jermaine Benman, James McMillan Jr. Who am I talking about? Ask Jessica Wagner of the District Attorney's Office. I go to a defunct gym called PW Fitness. Jermaine Benman walks up to me. I'm on the bench press. He goes like that. I say, I'll be 30 seconds. He stands over me, punches down my head, snaps back violently. Angel Reality arrives. Benman and I go out to the car with Reality. He tells me to wait in the backseat of a vehicle. And then Jermaine Benman, after he's told what to say to me by Angel Reality, says, I want to press charges against you. And with those 7 words, James McMillan Jr., I'm charged with harassment second. Who did I harass? Jermaine Benman has to appear before you. He's released. When I get a subpoena, I'm ordered out of your courtroom, even though I'm subpoenaed to be in there, after I had already been in Monroe County Jail for harassment second. You, James McMillan Jr., released this violent thug because there's an agreement between Jessica Wagner, the District Attorney's Office, the attorney, private attorney for Jermaine Benman, and you to let him go free because you believe in violence, James McMillan Jr. A list of defendants in Penfield Court for John P. Metzler Jr. A list of defendants in the New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. The cost of taxpayers for all travel out of Monroe County, New York State by employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Todd Baxter. I would hope that this can remove you from office because this is really something that's so easily understandable from the people of Monroe County that the rage will be immediate. If there are junkets like the one Ryan Fisher went on and the one you went on to Watkins Glen over and over and over, where there are vouchers, if it's called a voucher, but you're signing off on dispersals for your employees to travel out of Monroe County. But there's no reason whatsoever, ever, for your employees to be out of Monroe County. Just like there's no reason for you, Sandra Doorley, to be out of Monroe County. And are you out of Monroe County? At a conference in Albany, Washington, D.C., or somewhere else. The cost of taxpayers for all travel out of Monroe County, New York State by employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office of District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This is the final one, the 24. The cost of the trip to Watkins Glen by Sheriff Todd Baxter. Todd, I'm going to tell you how to be corrupt again. When you go on a junket such as this one to Rochester, to Watkins Glen, pardon me, don't have the employees taking a picture of you in a race car. You got it? It's attached to PDF. I'm on here reading each one. You received it here when I emailed you. I'm going to email this to you again. What I just read to you was delivered to you. I wrote it on November 28th. It arrived on November 29th. To all 5 of you. And December 2nd, 2022, here it is right here. I'm going to say this again. Penfield Court. There's your name, James McMillan Jr. There's your name, Todd Baxter. It's arriving. Either tomorrow or on Monday, you'll read it and refuse to comply. There you are, Sandra Doorley. There you are, Alex Renzi. Your $200,000 salary and 23% of the vote. And here's Paul C. Metzler, and you're in there with 6,000 votes. I mean, that's a gigantic landslide, Paul C. Metzler. That puts you in Penfield Court. 6,000 votes. So I own nothing. I have nothing because of my illegal eviction by Giuseppe Spano and Antonino Spano, with his son, Giuseppe Spano, is now dead. So when I say I own nothing and I have nothing, there are things I need to buy again that I've always had in my life that really lift me up. And when I was in elementary school, my mother, for the first time, gave me a St. Christopher's medal. And she said, St. Christopher will protect you. And I have worn one nearly my whole life. And when I was evicted, all my St. Christopher medals that my mother had given me, because I saved them, were gone. And when I was locked out of my residence, I could not get anything back And the things that give me joy, like St. Christopher's medal, where I think about my mother, and that's why I wear it. I no longer have. Well, I went and bought one. And there it is. Because I would think about her. Because I now have money. You, Todd Baxter, and you, Sandra Doorley, are responsible for the confiscation, the loss of my St. Christopher's medal my mother gave me. You're also responsible for other things I've lost in my life.